Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Moving Commas podcast. I'm your host, Amar, and we're going to talk about why manifestation is a waste of time. I know a lot of you people are probably thinking that this is, what is he talking about? That's something that, a lot of great, successful people, actors, business, figures, and celebrities have done in order to get to wherever they currently are in their career. I want to break this down a little bit more because I feel like a lot of people are stepping into the entrepreneurial route, or let's say just trying to even strive for a specific desired goal, whatever that may look like, whether it's monetary, fitness related, or even just a personal goal in your life. I want to go a little bit in depth into why I think just writing, journaling, blogging, scripting, or just writing things down is not enough in order to actually expedite and get towards or get even closer to your goals. I want to share a personal experience, and being on my journey for over 5 years now, I've realized that in order for me to actually set the intention, I had to write down my goals. I had to write things down in order for me to have some sort of direction, overall, in order to understand where I'm heading. And I isolated those, specific things that I kind of documented or put under contract with myself in order to constantly, remind myself that this is something that I've put out into the universe and I've created this. So I'm going to do whatever it takes in order to get to this specific, position or outcome. What I've realized that it's a great way to, set that expectation with yourself. And it's a good step to, getting things, organized in order to, create that, that belief system. But breaking it down much further, and why a lot of people that are simply just plateaued or even stuck in a specific area in their life, even gaining or having success, it is a deeper approach, and it's not related to how much you desire something. Again, you do have to have burning desire, but desire is simply a contract that you make with yourself that if you don't reach a specific outcome, or let's say a specific place in your business or your personal life, that you won't be happy until you really get there. So how do we stay the track and not let manifestation or motivation alone be one of the driving factors to, reach that destination? I want to share my personal experience with having to deal with this one thing, and just solely depending on, my deep desires and my ability to think that I simply deserve something because I want it a lot more than other people. This is a very paralyzing type of, I'd say, behavior, because if you don't actually break it down and understand why certain people that are much less deserving or spend less time on a certain thing reach their goals faster, is because they do something that actually gets them there faster, more efficiently, and they simply do the work. So let's say that your goal is to, make $10,000 in your business, right? In order to actually break that down, you need to know, okay, cool, how much is it that your products or services are worth, and how many units do you actually need to sell on a monthly basis to reach that marker? Ultimately, when you start to gain success, or if you have a little bit more of a track record as to breaking down actions and behavior, that's going to allow you to create a feedback loop, or let's call it a input or output system, that you can actually look at and be like, hey, you know what? I pushed this button and this ended up happening. And the more you're able to logically have some sort of logical approach to a goal, breaking it down with a summary of actions with inputs and outputs, you're more likely to reach that goal, as opposed to someone that's going to be reciting something or meditating on a certain concept or idea 1 hour in the morning while they meditate, or maybe 1 hour before they go to sleep. You're going to be far more productive and efficient and much more likely to crush your goals or outperform that person that is trying to manifest or try to, write their goals down in a certain manner and just depend on that. So what I'm trying to get at over here, and what this topic is really about, is having a proper guideline to not putting such overbearing expectations on yourself, and allow yourself to mirror people that have done the things that you want to do or in a certain place in their career, which is where you're trying to be, or you're aspiring to be. Is you need to know how to model yourself off of that person or that specific mentor, coach, or whatever whoever you actually look up to. So breaking this down much more further now, understanding that it is not just about writing certain things down to yourself or making certain promises. You actually have to do the work. And again, relaying back to my personal journey, I used to blog, and I still, write certain things down for myself ever so often, maybe every quarter. I used to do it every week in order to keep myself accountable and document my journey. But what I realize is that the more I constantly revisit that goal and I don't actually give it time and input for me to actually measure that data and those actions and measure my failures, there's no reason for me to go back to that goal and try to, masturbate mentally on the topic, because this had really paralyzed me. I'd say for almost 1 year that I was stuck doing around, maybe $15,000 to $30,000 in my business. I was trying to get across the, $50,000 to $100,000 mark, and I just simply couldn't understand how to wrap my head around my competitors and people that were doing much better than me. I thought that if I just continue to stay the course and I just keep modeling what I'm doing right now, that I'll eventually break through into that, that certain goal that I set for myself. But the moment that I had a paradigm shift, I had actually, with one of my mentors, had actually looked into what he did with his daily routine and how he actually carried out his tasks, how his calendar looked like, and what his model was. I realized that I was simply putting in so much effort on one lever, which is just, focusing on one aspect of my business, that I forgot to actually look at the real, factors in the business that drove more volume. So me having to simply do sales myself and try to do all the volume, I'd realize that, if I can go ahead and duplicate the same process and, book more appointments and duplicate myself across the board with an extra 1 or 2 reps, I would have 3 times more horsepower, or I'd have 3 times more likelihood of crushing more deals, because there's more people that are doing the same output that I'm trying to do in a very closed window in a daily basis. This is a, more of a, I'd say a real life example, but if you were to look at it this way, that, if I were to simply not gauge and look at someone that has done what I am trying to achieve, and I simply look at what they've done and reverse engineered those habits, that is what you actually need in order to reach what it is that you're trying to manifest. That is it's a belief practice. It's something that you do on your own time to actually set intention. But now you've got 12 hours out of the day, or 10 hours out of the day, to actually control the outcome, or somewhat try to manipulate the outcome, which you have an opportunity to do on a daily basis. So where we're drawing to conclusion, and what I'm trying to really get at over here, is that if you're trying to hit a goal, whether it's, again, personal, business, or even on a relationship level, you cannot simply rely on just the practice of trying to manifest something and just speaking things out into the universe. That is really I'd say 10% of the battle. Like once you set the intention, now you actually have to go and commit. It might even take 5 years. Most likely, again, if you're in business, you need to be measuring your strides in the span of decades, right? Like you really need to measure yourself off of the greats and be like, you know what, who would be doing, or what would someone do in my situation if you were to model them, as someone that you look up to, right? So if you're ever in a position where that, you're not able to actually meet those expectations or get towards those goals, it's because your behavior is not aligned with what that goal actually entails. Therefore, you will never reach your goal, and that's why manifesting is just not enough. So if you're manifesting, you need to understand that you also need to have a measurable input and output system that allows you to measure the actions that allow you to get closer to those goals. And what's going to happen is you're going to take action, you're going to fail, and then you're going to take action again, and you're going to fail again. And you're going to have to do this at least 10, 15, 20 times before you're able to get sufficient amount of data and feedback for you to actually measure what your performance is. And then you have to take that back to the drawing board. I cannot express how many times that I have felt that things were enough and I had actually satisfied those goals. And once I had reached that actual point in my life, I had realized that I had set the bar too low and that my whole belief system and my way of looking at my business was wrong. So again, setting goals is important, but understanding that this is an everlasting journey and you're simply just going through phases in your life where you're growing and you're evolving. So you need to understand that goals are meant to be met, crushed, and now you need to set another goal. But if you have one outcome or one desire that you just want to be a multi-millionaire and you just have that one thing written in a notebook and you just constantly keep writing that down with no measurable action steps, you're going to be stuck there forever, and you're probably going to be someone that just never meets their goals or just meets those actual outcomes. So take it from someone that has, had some sort of success and built some businesses and had a level of experience where, again, I've been able to, share these different types of experiences on my level, so I can go ahead and provide it to anyone that's in any stage of their, career or personal life as well. So just drawing things back to, what I was saying is that you need to keep yourself in an action-oriented state and completely remove expectations of overnight success. I promise you, if you are not obsessed with what it is that you do, you need to find a way to love the hard things and the tedious work. That is what others have done in order to get to a very good place in their life, right? Somewhere that, some place where we look at other entrepreneurs, celebrities, where we see them and we're like, damn, that would be a great, great outlook or a great circumstance to be in. But little do we know that they have sacrificed over 15 to 20 years without taking any breaks. And they've set maybe 30 to maybe 40 goals, and they've met all of them because they understand what it is to actually take action. So I just want to conclude things over here. This was a little bit of a open dialogue in terms of just something that I was thinking about today, and I thought it was worth sharing. If you find this valuable and you feel like it has given you some perspective and it has helped you in some sort of way, form or shape, please share this with anyone that you think might get help from it. And again, please subscribe and leave me a rating on this podcast. Again, this is another episode of Moving Commas. I am your host, Amar, and I will see you soon.